and are affected by wind and draft. Halogenated extinguishers are generally rated for Class B and C fires. However, some may have a Class A rating as well. Halon, like CO2, is a gas. To operate the extinguisher, remove the safety pin, aim the nozzle, and squeeze the handle. In some situations, it may be necessary to begin operating the extinguisher from the maximum range of 16 feet, and then move closer as the fire diminishes. Apply the agent at the near edge of the fire, and rapidly sweep from side to side toward the back of the fire. On Class B fires, halon is generally twice as effective and has twice the range of CO2. Like CO2, it will be affected by wind. The use of halon on fire may produce toxic byproducts, so these extinguishers should only be used in well-ventilated areas. Anyone operating a halon extinguisher should avoid breathing the gas. Another extinguisher is the dry chemical type. There are two kinds: ordinary dry chemical, which is effective on Class B and C fires, and multi-purpose dry chemical, which is effective on A, B, and C fires. Dry chemical extinguishers are available in two designs: cartridge-operated and stored pressure. To operate the cartridge type, remove the nozzle, which breaks the seal, push down on the cartridge puncturing lever, which pressurizes the extinguisher. Now, aim the nozzle and squeeze. Cartridge-type extinguishers have the discharge lever at the nozzle. To operate the stored pressure model, remove the safety pin, take the hose in one hand, aim it, and squeeze the lever with the other hand. Discharge from the maximum range and apply in a sweeping motion. It may be necessary to move in closer as the pressure drops, providing the agent has been initially effective in knocking down the fire. Multi-purpose dry chemical extinguishers are effective on Class A, B, and C fires. The agent tends to soften and stick when it comes in contact with hot surfaces. So, for Class A fires, it's important to thoroughly cover the burning embers to form a coating which isolates the fuel and prevents reignition. Multi-purpose dry chemicals do not penetrate the surface of ordinary combustibles, so it's important when the fire is out to break apart the material and continue to coat it. Compared to CO2 or halon, dry chemical extinguishers are less affected by wind. The final class of fire is Class D, combustible metal fires. These fires typically happen in machining areas. They're extinguished with either a handheld dry powder extinguisher or loose dry powder applied by scoop or shovel. Combustible metal fires are persistent, hard to extinguish, and highly reactive, especially when the metal is moist with water, machine lubricants, or other fluids. Applying the wrong type of extinguishing agent, like water on a combustible metal fire, could cause a violent reaction. Remember, dry powder is not the same as dry chemical, and the two should not be confused. Make sure the extinguisher you're using is rated D, combustible metals. Dry powder extinguishers are cartridge operated. To operate, remove the nozzle, which breaks the seal. Push the cartridge puncture lever. Aim the nozzle and squeeze. Discharge the extinguisher from its maximum range of 6 to 8 feet. When control is established, ease back on the nozzle to produce a soft, heavy flow, which allows you to get close without scattering the burning metal. If hot spots appear on the surface, continue to apply the agent. Remember, the metal remains quite hot for some time. Larger firefighting applications may require wheeled extinguishers, which are available in many sizes and with a variety of agents. Wheeled extinguishers have an operating range of up to 40 feet and empty in anywhere from 30 seconds to 2.5 minutes. Yet while these devices have a much greater range, They're also more difficult to use and require thorough training. A fire large enough to require this type of extinguisher is dangerous. If you are not sure of your capability or you don't know how to operate the extinguisher, leave the firefighting to trained firefighters. Regardless of the type of extinguisher used, it's imperative to recharge the extinguisher immediately after use, even if it's been only partially emptied. Recharging should always be done by a qualified person. There are other aspects of using a portable fire extinguisher that are equally important, like when to use one, when not to use one, and when to stop using one and get to safety. It's important to understand the limitations of portable fire extinguishers. For example, most completely discharge in less than 1 minute, some as quickly as 8 seconds. They have a limited range and a limited amount of agent. And most portable fire extinguishers have restrictions as to the types of fires they can extinguish. If you discover a fire, first sound the alarm, then call the fire department, regardless of how small the fire seems. Remember, fire can grow from a small blaze to a roaring inferno in as little as 2 minutes. Evaluate the fire. If the fire is large, burning out of control or creating lots of smoke, it's already too late. If it hasn't reached that stage yet, then ask yourself these important questions. What's burning, and what type of area is the fire in? Is there thick smoke, or are there any other hazards? Do I have the correct equipment to fight the fire? Do I have the training to fight the fire alone? Of course, nothing will guarantee that a fire will never happen. However, careful planning and training are important steps in fire prevention. Make sure the fire extinguisher matches the potential fire hazard and is in the proper location. It should be clearly identified and easily reached. Know the difference between Class A, Class B, Class C, and Class D fires. And get the proper training, because there's probably going to come a time when you'll need to use a portable fire extinguisher.